Can I have a motion to accept the minutes?
Motion to accept the minutes.
And a second.
Second.
Awesome.
Wonderful, thank you, folks. Well, so Linda's been trying to pull together everything for the last 2 months, so I'm going to turn it over to her.
Okay, everybody, I'm actually setting a timer for myself. Well, we were particularly interested in doing this. I mean, it was time, it's been 2 months, but also wanted to give you an update on our activities, make you aware certainly of the staff's efforts during this time, and then some, and then also kind of report on the relationships that we've been working with during this time as well, which have been really important. So that said, you did, I hope, at least receive the report. Realize it was only an hour and a half ago, but at least you can follow along with me for the most part. I'll try to mention or summarize everything I have there. So in terms of general updates, we immediately really, and I guess have continued more or less to try to make the town website, Council on Aging page, complete at least with vital information, sort of COVID-related outreach services or activities or information, as well as online activities that might be available or suggestions we could make. So we started that sort of immediately and have stayed with that while we also maybe continue to add a few other things once we got our bearings. We have certainly done some broadcast calls when it was important, lots of emails regarding notifications, whether it was about, the newsletter going out or program information, especially regarding, you'll see all the Zoom type things that we've been able to offer, or cable television schedules. And it's been an opportunity certainly to request more emails from people. All of the staff's been involved in that, of course. The newsletter was created. That's Lisa's primary responsibility, but the staff each contributed sort of to their pages and their respective information. We also did some deliveries, so people that don't get it in the mail were still able to have access to it, and that went right out on May 1st, if not before, online. So it was available online right away, and we notified people via Facebook, and I did a constant contact email as well at that point. We've not been able to do any new activity on the new website, but we are gearing up for that. And then on a sad note, I am mentioning that, on my end, there's been no activity in terms of sort of room naming for the new senior center, but so sadly, we did lose Joanne Papandreou. She passed away on May 3rd, which was a real blow to us. She was so much more than an instructor or even a volunteer. She really was like one of the staff. And she's really adorned the senior center as it is now with her paintings, thankfully. So it has brightened our space for the past several years. So anyway, I just wanted people to know that if you didn't, but also to realize I hope to really honor her in some way in the new space. So certainly she's made her donations of paintings. There may be more. Her brother indicated that they were offering information to people who had asked about donating to the senior center in her memory. So it would either come to us directly or go to the Friends as well. So we gave them 3 options, really, in terms of donating to the senior center in her memory. So transportation has been ongoing. We have continued to provide what we would consider, essential rides to the supermarket twice a week, staggered, so that we maintain only a small number on the van at one time. So people have continued to feel they need that. We've discouraged it from being a social opportunity, much as we all need that, but really only for essentials. Sometimes it may be a CVS stop or a bank or a post office. And
it's essential.
And the PPE has been very important. So, that's been something Kathy's been certainly involved in. She's even made masks for people, the drivers included, even though we did have some provided. We did do, a fair number of medical rides in April. That's somewhat fallen off. As you can imagine, not everybody has to make it somewhere. although there are still some rides. And we're really grateful for the 2 drivers who have continued to drive for us during this time. You know, that's been absolutely amazing. And I just think you should know that we have continued to pay the drivers, even though, you know, one is not driving, and that's certainly a choice, an understandable choice. But even the ones who are, it's far less than they're accustomed to. So we felt we really, just like we're getting paid, that they should be paid. And they are being paid, but I did inquire with GATRA to be sure that they would continue to, you know, support it through the reimbursement from the budget, and they will. So that's all set. Otherwise, I'll just move on to outreach, and, you know, basically everything is outreach right now. So, you know, it's kind of all hands on deck, whatever's needed. You know, one of the things we could do, because I'll get back to this, but, you know, we don't do food in the same way that a lot of senior centers do, unfortunately, really. But, so what could we do? You know what I mean? So we just, I guess, decided, or I decided, you know what, let's at least reach out by phone, do as much as we can. So each of the staff took names in for the first month easily, just every day, picked, you know, 5 names that they would call, just a friendly check-in call, see if they did need anything, make sure they were doing okay, have a chat, basically a conversation. Some were lengthy, and some were, you know, the people were fine. They probably didn't need us.
Might have been a very lengthy.
But still, you know, the staff felt good about that, and felt like it really it really was sort of an essential activity that they could provide. We even did, or Lisa arranged to have some volunteers assist us as well, because they got close to some of the participants for when they were at the senior center. Kind of a nice thing that did occur is an organization sponsored food for vets back the first couple of weeks of April. And I received, you know, an email from the Veterans Advisory Council on that. And so because of our recent breakfast, we had a really good list, you know, about 160 people I could contact by email and also by voice broadcast to let them know about it. It was at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough. And we had you know, I heard back from 8 or 10 people that went and were so pleased to know about it and to have been able to take advantage of it. It was really plentiful. The food, the system, the operation was really easy. So they were super glad that they knew about it and that they were able to take advantage of it. So that was a really nice thing. So I guess back to sort of meals and food assistance. So because we don't do, you know, the home delivered meals out of the senior center, and we don't have a regular congregate lunch, that's, you know, we really have become sort of a resource for referring people when they might need extra help with food. So out of that sort of, in addition to the food pantry and social elder services, the SANS organization sort of, what I want to say, organized really a group of volunteers. So a collaboration of community volunteers and town resources, which has become a great resource in itself, a single resource, I guess I should say, for identifying and responding to community needs and providing a place for volunteers to help as well. So even though I certainly had calls from volunteers, I didn't really have a method to use them, and we didn't know many of them. So this way, they're vetted through SANS, through the website. Scituate Community Christmas is involved, the food pantry is involved, the housing authority is involved, FACS, the school guidance office, the Council on Aging. So, you know, Jenny's sort of the primary conduit, but I'm on there, and, you know, we're sharing. Sometimes we'll take the request because it's somebody we know or someone that maybe we understand their needs a little bit better, but otherwise we're able to let that go off to another volunteer. Meals on Wheels certainly has increased. We send people to them, give them, you know, an idea of how to do that if they haven't been on there already. So their numbers have doubled, and the food pantry's numbers, I'm not certain, but I want to say they have doubled. They changed their protocol so that it's either happening in the parking lot where people drive up, give them their menu, they provide the food, and they drive away, or they do the deliveries. So we've sent a lot of people that way, and they've been terrific, stepping up what they do. We've had a lot of communication to support the Housing Authority and vice versa, so that's been a very mutually beneficial relationship always. Certainly there have been other calls. Business goes on, life goes on for some people, for better or worse. So certainly family support and referrals that we've needed to make. I had a situation that certainly was time consuming for a week or so. Jenny's had lots of other requests for assistance with benefits, housing applications or referrals, caregiver, home care assistance, financial resources, unemployment assistance, just getting on that website. So she's helped there, fuel assistance that's come up, and other special issues. And in her case, the 50-plus job seekers group, which I had assigned her to take care of. So that's back up and running virtually, so that's been sort of also a time-consuming project. But we were able still to get our Shine counselor on board, so he's doing phone appointments. And our attorneys happily have helped out when needed, so certainly more than a few people have talked with him, or them, I should say. And Jenny's also able to handle some of the other insurance questions that aren't necessarily Shine-related. We did have some high school students come to me for a community service learning project they wanted to do. So they have just completed an effort to provide kindness rocks, painted rocks with inspirational messages and bright colors, which they're going to begin tomorrow distributing to the housing authorities and the senior center, and I'm hoping that they'll go out with some Meals on Wheels as well. So that was very nice and good of them to do. They had posted on Facebook, as did I, about their efforts, so they kind of enlisted the community to help. So then they had a couple of drop-offs for the community to leave the rocks with them, and they've sanitized them and whatnot. So those are ready to go, and the housing developments are happy to have them. I did, this month in May, start a Facebook daily challenge for this month. So just to try to connect with people and give them a reason to go to Facebook maybe and connect to our page. So if you're not, I'm hoping you will be a friend of the Scituate Council on Aging. Make sure it's us and not Rhode Island. But you can check out the daily challenges because it's been kind of fun, and I think it's helped a little bit at a time to increase our exposure with people, I hope. Moving on to programs, so obviously, as you mentioned, lots of stuff was planned and has been, initially we thought postponed, now maybe canceled, we'll see. But virtual programming, hey, what would we do without Zoom? And too bad none of us had stock in it before. But we have also shout out to our SCTV director, because we have a lot going on cable. He was really very instrumental in getting us there in the first place. So we have a schedule Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock, and it varies on the exercise programs that are offered. And as well, they're on YouTube, whether we send out the link for that or it's provided on the SCTV YouTube site. It's a little of both, I guess. But anyway, we've been happy about that. That's been a Zoom yoga. There's been the balance class, a strength training, the joint efforts, the seated exercise for people that finally came up, and I finally did a Tai Chi program too. But I want to do another one. So that's one thing. Sorry.
Have you been able to track who's attending and how that attendance is going? I mean, I think it's great that you've been able to do all this stuff, provide some of these classes virtually.
Yes. Well, so, yeah, we can track a little bit. The instructor can track or knows, and sometimes we get the information, sometimes we don't. So we more or less know who. Payment to the instructors I'm just going to do out of the formula grant because I will end up with some money left, so that's easy enough. In the case of, for instance, Bob's history class, he's solicited the usual donations from them. So we'll take them, of course, but if people are watching that aren't sending money our way, that's okay too. It's good exposure. Pardon me, just drinking. Sorry, my pages are a little mixed up. So anyway, besides
Shuffling.
SCTV and YouTube and Zoom, we've also got Zumba on Zoom and Facebook Live, something else that Lisa's sent out for people. So she's been great about the email communications and keeping people apprised of anything that they could take advantage of, and I think they've appreciated it. They've called us to let us know that. Bob's first 6 week class ended, and a new one began yesterday. So that's really, grateful for his efforts again, as well as Seth's and SCTV for making that available. In addition, another volunteer has helped with the men's breakfast and a Thursday discussion meeting that I was just planning to do, but having Dick along with me, and we've had 13 people, 9 people today, so that's been kind of fun. Just sort of literally an informal discussion, a little academic, a little, local. The Job Seekers Networking Group, it's really a force unto itself. So I think they maybe had a dozen people the first virtual meeting, and then yesterday they had to turn people away, so there was well over 25, almost 60 people registered, and they didn't want to let that many in.
Wow.
Which is a little bit of a sign, obviously, of what's going on.
Yeah.
We've held the monthly caregiver support group by Zoom, via Zoom, and the Parkinson support group, God love the facilitator there, she went from, instead of just a monthly for each of the different groups she does, she's gone to a weekly group that any of them can log on to, again via Zoom. And she's got some technical help. So when I talk to people, I tell them, who they can go to if they need help getting on. We did have to cancel a bunch of stuff, of course. Some of the long-term evidence-based stuff, obviously the Interact Club with the intergenerational Art for the Mind, which we'll figure out how to resume that somehow with Jill, whether she goes virtual or we just end up picking it up or having her come to the center for the art presentations. And some people have to watch on video and some people can be there. We'll figure that out because we still have grant money for that. And we'll continue. Obviously, it's all about how we're going to do future programming, and, we're open to any and all suggestions, but are working on anything that we can imagine we can do virtually. And we'll figure out how to pay for it. So then also...
You're good.
The Senior Center. We've continued to have weekly meetings via conference or video. And there was a brief work stoppage back in mid-April, I believe, about 4 days while
4 or 5
guidelines were
days.
Clarified. It didn't really impact us. And truthfully, I think the contractors are happy to be back at work. It was just, an interpretation of
State mandates.
people didn't want to do anything wrong.
Yeah.
Technicalities.
Yeah.
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 But I did list in my report, all the types of things that have been completed or are happening currently. Some of the things, if you've driven by, you may have noticed. Of course, the elevator shaft has been more or less, formed, at least completed, which is, now you can sort of see the height of the building. The foundation is
Backfilled. Being backfilled.
Backfilled, thank you, that's the word I was looking for. So it's really, they're ready to do the slab just about. There's still been a little bit of work on the under.
There's a lot of under, below grade,
Agreed.
below ground, electric and plumbing and things, drainage that are happening. But, so now's the time to be doing it, and then they'll backfill all that and push all the ground back up against the foundation, and away they go.
Yeah, it really, it looks great. They've got it under control. They did also, you may notice, remove the portion of the stone wall that had to come out for the new driveway. So they've collected the stones for that and are preserving those to be used for the wall that's going to surround the generator. So they're reusing the stones from the stone wall. But upcoming is the pouring of the slab, which is really literally the concrete flooring underneath the building. And then they're going to start framing the building within, really by Memorial Day or thereabouts that week.
I think so.
So
Yeah.
that's the current outlook anyway. A few things that have,
I'll also add, just because it's part of the project, the rec center has created they had to change and create a new door opening entrance on the back side opposite the tennis courts, because they're going to demolish and be working on the current entrance with the new elevator shaft, et cetera, et cetera. So that back entrance, I believe, is ready to go. I know it's been poured, I know the concrete's in, and the ramp is in, and I believe the handrails are in. It may still be grading around
yeah.
the ground, but that entrance will be open for the rec center any day now, and that'll be the entrance to come in, because then they're gonna turn around and go over to the front side of the building
Yeah.
and begin to demolish some of that to be able to put in an elevator. So
Well, actually, they're already in the rec side for abatement right
Right,
now.
right.
So that's ongoing at the same time that our construction is happening. So a couple of updates on the site too. There was some discussion just recently on, we originally had a trash pad in the way back. And, the drawings, I didn't think really how far away it was. But our facilities director did notice that, and it was really super far away, right back practically on top of the soccer field. So we opted to remove the trash pad and aren't going to use a dumpster. We're going to let DPW handle our trash barrels instead, and they're going to be where the transformer is, kind of opposite at the beginning of the parking lot, on the right-hand side of the driveway. So that was just a change that you'll see, and that gives us a couple of parking spaces back where the trash pad was going to be, which is behind the B wing basically. But our vans can go there, because I was a little concerned about where would we put. We have 3 vans that we do need to park.
yeah.
So that would be nice space for them. So I hope that ends up working out. Also,
Can I interrupt for a second? Say that again. Where's the garbage facility going to be?
Where will
I'm trying
it
to
be?
visualize this.
It will be as you're driving in on the right, about across from the kitchen, the beginning of the building, the beginning of the parking lot. There was a place where the transformer was originally going to go and is going on the right-hand side. It'll be concealed.
Will that be? Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt. This is Karen. Will it be close to the abutter's fence?
Well, no closer than the parking lot already was. So it's where the transformer was drawn in. Now, there was discussion on moving the transformer because of a tree, but the tree was actually was supposed to come out. They thought they had to save it, but it was always supposed to come out. It's a tree on the street. So now the transformer can stay where it was, and that's why, again, the discussion just this week. So it'll go to the PBC on next Tuesday, I guess, to be sure that they agree with that change or addition to that spot. It could remove a parking space if that's necessary, because the transformer was right next to where the beginning of the parking lot was, or is. So I hope that's clear.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
No, don't be silly. We did confirm the use of safety bollards. Those are little,
Light.
well, not the lighted ones. There's, because it's a flat sort of sidewalk area around the entrance of the senior center. So when you walk from the parking lot into the building, you don't step up onto a curb. It's flat. So they have to put up little, vertical stoppages. Instead of those ones that go on the ground, we're using short poles. They're only waist high, more or less. They're decorative. But again, that's to prevent any cars from accidentally thinking that they can drive around or through or by.
Into the building?
Into the building, right.
Into the building, yeah. And then lastly, in terms of not really a change, I guess it's a little bit of an addition. So the driveway off of First Parish is a two-way driveway in and out. But in deference to some concerns, I guess, they're putting a little grass triangular island between the sort of people coming in and people going out, and they're going to require a right-hand turn only be done for those exiting the senior center on that side. So that's been decided, I guess, more or less. So the island is going to be added to the driveway at the top of it. And it was always the case that alternate egress would be out the Cudworth end,
Right.
that you could go behind the
Right.
buildings and around the tennis courts. So that'll still exist anyway.
Yep.
So it's kind of distributed. And then lastly, the FF&E portion of the project, the fixture, furnishings, and equipment, we have started to talk about. So Janice, Desmond,
Wow.
and Leslie from the board, we're looking at carpet samples right now, and the flooring was already selected. So that is a vinyl plank tile in a sort of medium brown stain, not too dark, not too light. It's very nice, a little weathered looking. It's really pretty. But we can start to move on. And of course, this is an unusual and an inconvenient time to want to look at furnishings. So it's kind of hard doing it, on the computer. We're hoping for an actual on-site visit, maybe, sometime toward the end of May or beginning of June at the warehouse site for one of the vendors. But we are, because it's in the contract for BH plus A, the architect, so their designer especially likes the organization called Red Thread. They're in the Seaport. So that's who we're using to help design, and then, we can make our own decisions based on what they offer or what we want. But in lieu of putting it out to bid, because they will only take from the state bid list. So that's how you kind of get around the idea that you have to go out to bid for multiple parties. You just take what's on the state bid list and those prices, so they're kind of firm. So that's the status on that, I guess. And I think that's the end of my report. But, I hope that's sort of a sufficient update. We've been busy. We're trying to do as much as we can. If anybody has suggestions, we'll take them. Nobody thought it would sort of go on this long. And of course, we're really probably looking at,
Could be
months
that long,
more.
yeah.
I mean, we'll be the last to sort of open full throttle, I think. That's the expectation.
Linda, this is Pat.
Yes, hi, Pat.
There was going to be a subcommittee to be in contact with the architects or somehow have some kind of input on the site, the building, and then, it hadn't formed when things shut down. Is that still an option?
Well, we haven't moved at all on the subcommittees, Pat, just because of where we are with the
Yeah.
COVID shutdown, so.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really going to be.
I have some thoughts, but I don't want to take everybody's time because we're so limited.
Yeah.
Well, you can certainly give me a call and we can chat.
Yeah,
Okay.
I welcome your thoughts. That's just fine.
yeah. Does anyone have any other questions for Linda? Very good. Well, thank you. We wanted to get everyone caught up here a little bit. I'm going to move on quickly here to liaisons. I did not hear Joan Powers. I don't think she's on.
No.
She's muted.
Oh.
So when we go through the Q&A, we can ask her
Okay.
if she wants.
Well, I know Karen's on. Karen, can you give us an update on what's going on with the Board of Selectmen?
I'm delighted to. I'm mindful that we have 16 minutes, so I'm going to go over the task before I start. I just want to say I've got all my computers going because all we do is work virtually now.
Yes.
And Elaine wrote an email that said that from SPOT. Do you want me to read
sure.
her update?
Yep.
Okay, so this is Elaine's update from Friends of Citrus Seniors. we have not been doing much during lockdown. However, we did make a decent donation to the food pantry last month. We are now looking at future donations during this time of need, and we'll make donations to needy causes. Sorry I couldn't make the call. Stay well. So that's the FOSS update.
That's great. I'm sure the food pantry
Yeah.
appreciates that.
Well, yes. I mean, I just quickly want to say that, adapting to virtual services while providing really hands-on service, the Council of Aging has just risen to the call, and,
Oh, thanks.
there's a lot of people that need us, and this population are those whom we're trying to protect. So I just want to thank everybody because it's amazing. The newsletter, all the outreach is great.
Thanks,
Linda talked about the collaboration between Council on Aging and the Food Pantry and the Sands and the Scituate Community Christmas. On the same token, on the other flip side of that is there's now a collaborative group of the town municipal economic development commission, all of the chambers, all the merchant groups, all of the others, anyone that's not in your category,
Yeah.
that's come together to form a working group to figure out how to reopen our community, both from a local economy standpoint and from a
Safety.
just bringing everybody's spirits up basically, and giving people guidance on how we can adapt to the new whatever it is. All of this has been in collaboration, of course, with the Board of Health and the Department of Public Health. So you're first to know that very soon we're going to be launching this initiative. It's called Scituate Loves Local. There'll be a lot of information about it probably after Memorial Day, because we want to get all the ducks in a row. But there's a great opportunity to bring in all of the boards and committees of the community, because you guys are the ones that get stuff done. And I'll be sending more information to Linda about how the Council on Aging can participate.
Okay.
But the highlights are, this group, just like you're doing on the social services side of things.
Yeah.
This group can help spread the word and publicize the programs and services that you guys are offering in a collaborative way.
Okay.
We can put links to all of the virtual shows or programs and things on the town website, on the social media that is being built right now for this initiative. We'll continue to mention anything you want. Sorry I didn't get your email early enough this morning, but on the bi-weekly video announcements from the town, which are,
those are
being extremely well received. I mean, we get thousands and thousands of people watching this. It's amazing.
Oh, they're so
People wanna know
valuable.
what's-
It's been so great.
It's a real good update.
Yeah, wonderful. Really.
Yeah, and people, it shows how people are very hungry for just facts.
Right.
And so one of the most important things that we're working on, not just this Scituate Loves Local, but at the town level, is the poor Board of Health, who have never signed up for this kind of work.
Yeah.
We're going to try to put together frequently asked questions and things as each phase rolls out.
Yeah.
To be very clear, what does it mean to our community?
Yeah.
And we'll of course share, coordinate with you guys, because you need, more than anybody, need to know all that information.
Well, naturally, too, it's funny because, technology-wise, some people certainly had embraced it before, but now it's become more imperative. And we've found that people are asking, how do I get those notifications? And, of course, we've been trying to show them for months, but now they want them.
I mean, we're seeing a bit of a behavior change. So.
Oh, 100%. One of the committee members early on, we've only been meeting for 3 weeks or so, one of them said very aptly that although this is a really unusual and challenging time, it's a golden opportunity to really just put some things in place that will serve us well long term.
Yeah.
And I think this whole, having all of the nonprofits and the social service people get together is a great thing. Having all of the business and private ventures get together is a good thing.
Yeah.
And then tying it all together is making sure that the town's municipal structure supports those efforts. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah.
So I would like if the Council on Aging Board could, we're not there yet, but if you can start thinking about events or initiatives that you think would be useful as we sort of phase out, let me know. We've got the resources and the manpower to really make an impact in our community while we transition in a very positive way. So just email me or give me a call, and I'll be happy to do that. Couple of other things I wanted to mention, and I don't want to take up all the time, is Linda, you mentioned a lot of people, as we're all navigating what the heck is going on, and everyone's circumstances is changing so radically. I would really encourage everyone, especially for things like unemployment and mass health and things like that, to email Patrick Kearney's office. I know firsthand because I work for another rep.
Yeah.
All we're doing right now is helping people figure those things out.
Yeah.
And they can cut through a lot of red tape.
Yes.
Because if it comes from a rep, you get some attention. It's just the way it works. So please let people know that I know his office would be thrilled to help anybody.
Okay.
Let's see. That's the daily challenge. I love the daily challenge. That's a perfect example of something that the Scituate Love Local can feature on the social media pushes and the website, is put things like that on there.
Oh, thanks.
And the last two things I had on my list were, Linda, would you mind if you're meeting virtually on the job meetings?
Yes.
Asking if they wouldn't mind inviting me, because I didn't know that was happening, and after the whole library thing, I'd really like to participate in that.
Oh, sure thing.
And then also, if you could relay that to the design team that Office Resources is a business that they're a company that does that sources furniture for industrial use, like the senior center, and their owner is a member of our community and has in the past been extremely generous about pricing community projects.
I see.
So,
okay, we didn't know that.
He's on the list, on the state list anyway, but he usually, I can't tell you what he'll do now because everybody's world's changed. Right. But, he's been extremely supportive of our project. So we can talk about that offline. Okay. That's what I had, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Karen.
I will call you. Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions for Karen? Well, she's here.
Really? No.
Well, we appreciate the we appreciate the community updates, because those are quick and easy and informative and reminds people where things are and or gives them a heads up. So those are great. So we appreciate all that.
We do have a Public Building Commission meeting on next Tuesday night, actually, as well. So
next Tuesday, okay.
Yep.
I will look. I should know that. Yeah.
So what I can do now is open up. If anybody is is on that hasn't been able to speak, I can provide that opportunity now, and the
Q&A session has started.
There you go.
Aren't you fancy?
Well, we'll see. No.
She might cut you off mid-sentence, so be prepared. Does anyone have any questions, comments? We'll even actually open it up to...
Q&A session is over. All participants are unmuted.
See?
Sorry, I didn't mean that.
That's one way to...
Yeah.
All participants are muted, and they can unmute themselves.
Does anybody
How can we unmute ourselves?
Does anybody have any old business or new business to quickly bring to the table? Chances are awfully good that we're going to be doing the same thing in June, because I don't anticipate necessarily being able to hold a board meeting right now. So we're going to be probably virtual again. So if anybody's got any ideas, thoughts, comments, old business, new business.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Chair, this is Karen.
Hi, Karen.
Hi. I don't know if Lorraine has given you advice on the method of meeting. Some groups aren't supposed to meet by Zoom because of security.
Okay.
But if we can meet by Zoom, it's so much easier just because you can see everybody and you can raise your hand and it's just, whatever.
Yeah,
So
I would
would
prefer that.
I don't remember what Tom said.
Yeah, this was kind of the recommendation, but I think I'll go back and ask again.
Okay. So we might be changing the
Yeah,
format.
just clear. I know there was some conversation about security, and I actually was in my first Zoom bomb yesterday. It was very fun.
Really?
But it is nice. Then you can see everybody, and I miss everybody.
Yes, I agree.
Okay.
And that has helped the last couple of months. That has really helped, that ability, whether it's family at home or whether it's been, with professional peers.
To see a face along with the voice, right?
Well, I mean, we had our first department head meeting, I guess, since the closures via, it wasn't Zoom, but it was like Zoom, the go-to meeting. And, we could see each other. And, I didn't mention it because it's nothing's known yet. It's very uncertain. But the budget is taking a hit, of course, and will take a real hit. But based on what happens at the state level. So that's why the municipalities don't really know how they're going to have to deal with either cutbacks or other things. We just know we can't spend any money for sure, and whether we're going to lose parts of the budget, we don't know that yet either. So that remains to be seen. That'll be June.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully.
Oh, hopefully, yes. And yes, I know what I might mention. I meant to put it in my notes, but just the idea that there is the town election, so I will publicize, obviously, especially for seniors, if they need help either with the absentee ballot access or potentially early voting, and maybe, our van could be used for that. So that is coming up
June
like 13th.
13th. Yeah. Yeah, Linda, the town clerk is very strongly recommending that everyone apply for absentee or early voting. Doesn't honestly matter which one you do because the emergency orders from the governor says, the rules that apply don't apply anymore.
Yeah.
They don't want people to come to the polls. You can download those online.
Yep.
So that might be a great thing that you can help people or you can give them to people. And they'll mail you the ballots and you mail them back.
Yep.
And by far that is
And I did it already, and the ballot came the day after I dropped the form off at Town Hall.
great.
Oh.
So they're being very quick about it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and just another little note on that is we're all making this up as we go.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I didn't think of that because we never had to think of that. So it makes perfect sense to do absentee or, non-public voting. But what we didn't think about was all of the opportunities for people to get to know who the candidates aren't happening.
Yes,
So
right.
people get their ballots and they're like, who do I vote for? I've never heard of these people. So I know that the Mariner's going to run a Q&A from all of the contested races next week. And I'm going to actually ask the chamber to host a Zoom forum like they usually do at CAR Hall.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
As soon as possible. Because we didn't think about that. It's like, oh, yeah, you ask people to vote, but they haven't had an opportunity.
No.
Right.
And just so you know that at least for on the selectman race, both candidates have websites out there. So you can go and see what they have to say.
Okay. Thank you, that is good to know.
Sorry.
No, that's
Give 2 more
important.
minutes, I'll stop.
I mean, that's a reminder on
It's like
constant
everything else. I'm
contact
like, I never thought about that.
email, for the next few weeks for you.
Okay.
So,
All right. Well, so, in all this, it's nice that we have the bright light of the senior center continuing and the construction work. That's at least something positive. And there's many others, of course. So I hope everyone's finding some silver lining for themselves as we navigate this. I'm happy to have a job.
Everyone in my house still has a job, and my graduating senior from college got a job offer yesterday.
Awesome.
Oh, good.
So it was a good day here.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Good, great, congratulations.
yeah, that's terrific.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody have any other comments, tidbits to offer? We're just about on time.
All set here.
Okay. Anything else from you?
No, I'm done talking.
Seth, we again want to thank you for your help and expertise. Can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
And a second.
Second.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks for
All right,
taking the time
Thanks
to
for showing up.
Bye.
to
Nice to
dial,
see you all.
to dial in. And
Sorry about the brief
Bye.
Q&A.
I mean, our video will be up on YouTube, right? So we'll see. Hopefully, see you soon.
Thanks, Dad.
Bye.
Bye. I don't know what happened with the Q&A.